Going on, traders? Going 5 for 5 today. Pretty good day. Not going to complain. Had 2 separate trades on CVNA. Let's jump right into this as always. Our first trade was actually on CVNA, and then we actually started Lucid while we were in CVNA. So got a little scary here. Not scary, but a little annoying actually on this first trade, which actually ended up being our bigger winner. But as you can see, previous resistance lines from yesterday down here. And then I drew this 1424 line, which was where I ended up getting in. That was for the later trade. But ended up making a decent move up through that previous resistance. Got in, I believe, was it 200 shares? Yeah, 200. Took off 150, looking for the continuation back down through 14 to this 1380 area. Didn't get it. Ended up adding the 50 back. Remember, I started with 200. So when I added this 50, we had 100. Then I went ahead and added 100 again. And then I actually ended up adding 200. So we ended up with 400 here. And then I actually ended up adding another 200 here, ending up with 600. Now, I immediately didn't really like it, but it did give us a pullback. I ended up taking some off. And then if we scroll really close, you'll see that I was taking it off as we were going. And then on the way back up, I took it off. This was pretty much where my average was. I think I took a small 2 or 3 cent loss on these last 50 shares, but was really hoping to get the push down to at least that 1424. That's what I was doing with these last, I believe it was, I took 250 off there. No, 50. It was, yeah. So I had 600, did 400 and then 100. So I was left with 100. I split it in 50, but I was looking to try to get that all the way down here. I mean, had I been able to get 1420s with a 1460 average with 100 shares, it's another $40, right? But it just wouldn't do it. I started to curl back up and took it off. It just kept getting bought up. Didn't really like it. So thankfully, we at least got the pullback and made the most of it. While we're here, I'll just scroll into the next trade. This thing actually ended up going crazy up through the highs and halting. So I was watching it out of the halt and pretty much just hit it out of the halt when it felt like it was toppy and put an order out. And I think, is this the one that was weird? It only filled it, like partially filled us. Yeah. It filled us like, I think filled us took 100 shares. And then I believe it filled us, let's see. Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? There it is. Filled us. Was this only 50 shares? Okay, it was. So it filled us for 38 shares, and then I essentially dragged the order, it filled us for 12 shares, and then I dragged the order up and filled us the other 38 for 7 cents higher. So that was a little frustrating, but we did end up making like another $20 on that, just a quick little scalp. But yeah. LCID was our second trade of the day. This one was pretty good. Previous resistance as well as pre-market stuff over there. So the high of day yesterday, technically, and intraday was 1188. A lot of pre-market stuff there. It went up through 12. I was really looking for it to get up through this area and extend away. However, it really didn't want to. It went up to, 1215 and started to come back down. So I ended up hitting it, just looking for that flush through 12 back towards that 1188. And we ended up just taking that. Now, keep in mind, this was also while I was in CVNA messing with that. So I wasn't really looking to really look for max on this one, or, I wasn't trying to give it too much mental capital. I was really just trying to get in and out of that one. Then TKAT. This one was pretty frustrating. If we scroll out, you're going to see a pretty big move out of TKAT up through the whole dollar. And there really wasn't any fast move up until we ended up getting in. Of course, right after we hit the button at 115, this thing actually jumped up to 122, and we could have probably got a fill up around 120. But it just decided to go sideways, was looking for the one retest for most of our shares. It started to kind of just hang out up here. And finally, it looked like it tried to go higher, got up to 131 through this candle, 127, and pretty much got stuffed. So I ended up hitting it for another 300 shares here. And then pretty much that was pretty much the low of the candle. We got it at 122. It was a low of the candle. And it started to kind of inch its way back up towards highs. So it was pretty frustrating. At this point, I'm like, well, if you're going to go highs through the highs, please just give me a big pop. And then I'm going to hit it for another 600 shares and hopefully get our average up there for the nice move down. But it did eventually come down, and I think we had this order out. I believe our average was like 119 something, and I really hated this trade the way it was moving. I kind of felt like it might just go sideways, but then all of a sudden it just kind of dumped. Took out our 400 shares, and then we had the other 200 sitting down here at 113 and got our fill. So Ended up being an okay trade. Wasn't really something I liked in hindsight, but I mean, I maybe could have scaled out the other 100, but at that point, I'm not really looking to make too much because we didn't really have that much size on to begin with, considering the range. The next trade was, and our last trade was GFAI. Oh no, this was the demo. I was testing out something on the demo. Which one did I miss? Oh, MSGM. Yeah, I was testing out. So when I hit this 0.5R button, it gives me a load, right? It loads. But then in order to get rid of that, you would always have to hit enter. Well, if you don't have anything selected or assigned to the escape key, you can hit escape when something says load in here and it'll actually cancel the order. It's a little tidbit of information that I found out today. So MSGM, this one was a little crazy. Volume out of nowhere, pretty much. Previous resistance all the way down here. And this thing was spready and skippy. So I was really being patient with it. It got up towards where the halt price was. And that's when I felt comfortable kind of hitting it, saying, hey, if it halts, I'll probably just jump out. And if not, then awesome. But took 100 shares, and this was the really weird one. I put the 100 shares out, and it only filled me. This is another one. It was such a weird. It filled me 18 shares at 78, and then it ended up filling me 60 at 71, and I had my order out at 71. So I don't really know what happened there. I guess it like skipped, and then there was some slippage, even though it was a limit order. That was very confusing to me because I had them all out at 71. It filled me 18 at 78, but then came back. It actually went up and then came back down and filled me 60 at 71. And then it ended up going back up. And this thing, I had 22 shares left, but it ended up going a full dollar and like $1.50 against me. So had I taken it off at the top there, I would have ended up red on this trade. It did. It actually went all the way up against me, and on the way, it kind of spiked back down. And when it spiked back down, it didn't quite get to my average, which was at 1722. And we ended up just taking it off at 1781. So still lost almost 60 cents on those shares. But as you can see, it did try to go higher after that, but ultimately it ended up dying. So a little frustrating. I thought about trying to add, and I believe if you go watch the live trade, I did try to add. I can just check. I did. I actually hit the button for 22 more shares at 1872 when it was up there. I hit my short the ask button and I didn't get filled. So had I got that fill, would have moved our average to somewhere in here around 18. Probably take half off on the dump and then look to just trail the rest. Obviously, maybe we get this previous resistance area, but obviously we're definitely not holding all the way back up here. So who knows? It worked out. Still a pretty good day. $132. Not going to complain. Hopefully we can kind of keep this going the rest of the week. This is kind of how last week was. I believe Monday was slow. I don't remember if Tuesday was slow. Let me check the calendar real quick. But I do know that the last 3 days were good. Yeah. So last week we made $50 on Monday, 89 on Tuesday over 9 trades though. Yesterday we only got 1 trade, and today we only got 5 trades, but made 132. So last Wednesday we made 137. So pretty good. And then Thursday was our big day at 147. And then Friday we made 97. So hopefully we can kind of keep that going. If we have a big day tomorrow, hopefully we can kind of get that average up to that $100 a day average for the week again, which would be nice 2 weeks in a row. Obviously not going to push for that, but if it presents itself, I'm gonna try. So that's all I got. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave those down below. Discord, Twitter, you can find me on there as well. Those are in the description, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.